Hey everybody, hope your day is going well. We are back with another reaction. We're going to check out the video of the Christy Geography YouTube channel. This is 60 Weird Laws Across the World. Link to the original is in the description. Looking forward to this. This was a video, this was uploaded 2 years ago, so things might have changed already. But I'm interested to hear about some of the weird laws across the world. We have some in Belgium. One example is maybe the gasboetes, which is gas fines. It doesn't stand for gas, but each letter is like gemeentelijke administratieve boete, which is like a local administrative fine. But it gets absurd. Like every city can, have their own types of fines. Like there have been absurd things like singing too loud or off key. You get fined for some absurd situations have occurred because of that one. So yeah, let's see what other countries have to offer, huh?
60 weird laws across the world. That's exactly what we're gonna discuss about today. Starting from banning chewing gums to paying for desks and chairs at school. Yeah, let's just get right into it. In Singapore, it is illegal to chew gum except for medical purposes. But as this person pointed, it is being ignored by citizens. The fines could go all the way to $2,000, and if you're caught selling it, up to $100,000 or 2 years in prison. In Milano, Italy, there
what you win for? And I was chewing some gum.
There was a legal requirement to smile at all times except during funerals or hospital visits. Yeah, it's clearly not happening anymore. In Turin, also in Italy, dog owners must walk their dogs at least 3 times a day.
What?
Why?
Really? Is that true?
Speaking of,
if there's any people watching that are from these countries and you say, no, he's gotten this all wrong, or there's nuance to it, let me know. How can they, there's millions of dog owners. How can they really follow up on that anyway? I mean, everybody should take care of their pets and make sure they get, exercise and get outside and stuff. But how are you going to regulate it?
Dogs, you must pay a tax if you own a dog in Finland. And in Finland, you are also required by law to grow hops if you own a house. Yeah, that's a must.
What?
In Venice,
really?
Italy,
I don't know, man. Is this true?
To feed pigeons. And I've actually seen it myself. And I'm
a yeah. I believe that because in here in the town that I live, you used to go like feed the ducks, like in the park and stuff. But then they kind of also said, no, you can't do that anymore. First of all, some people were giving them things that could, like bread or something, could get lodged in the throat, but also because of rats and stuff, it attracts different types of vermin, and there's a whole other thing going on. So yeah, that is regulated here too. You can't really feed the ducks, or maybe not even the pigeons.
I'll tell you guys a secret. I actually broke the law. Yeah, I hope FBI doesn't watch this video. If you don't flush the toilet in Singapore, you're gonna be fined $150. With $150, you can buy a lot of stuff, not gonna lie. In Canada, if you have a payment of more than $10, it is illegal to pay with coins. Why? So Canada apparently bans climbing on a tree, especially in Toronto and Ottawa. Someone in
it is, getting like $20 or euros in coins in these little, and you have to count them. Like, but still, I think here you are obligated to accept it. For now, of course they want to get rid of cash and stuff, but for now, it's still, I think you're obligated to accept the currency, no matter how small the coin.
2014.
I thought size didn't matter, so what's going on here? You don't accept a small coin? A lot of small coins make big dollar.
Climbed a tree and they earned themselves a fine of $365. These Australian laws are just so funny. So it is illegal to be drunk in a pub. What's the purpose of the pub then? It is illegal to dress up
come on, that's not true, is it?
And robe it. And this is the funniest. If you cannot get to a urinal in time, it is perfectly legal to urinate on your own vehicle's rear left tire. And I was wondering, is it illegal?
Oh, look at the rock over there. that's, there is something to be said for, like, okay, you can't really do, urination in the wild, as they say, other people's doors, cars, but we do need more like public toilets, because like it's like a side of humanity that we want to ignore. Like people don't have to go to the bathroom, a few times a day, and then it's something that is so basically human, that we kind of forget about, and it's weird. Yeah, more public restrooms, please. But what's up with the Batman and Robin thing in Australia? I know I have at least one subscriber from Australia. You know who you are. Tell me about these laws. Is that true? You can't be drunk in a pub? That cannot possibly be true. Everybody would go out of business.
On your right tire then, because that's the logic, I guess.
Yo, keep an empty bottle in your car, man.
In Samoa, it is illegal to forget your wife's birthday. So if you forget your wife's birthday, the husband is warned at first. But if he's caught again, then he'll definitely spend time in jail.
How would they know? She snitched on her own husband. She snitched on him.
Walk barefoot in public. Don't ask me why. In United Arab Emirates,
I think we have like I talked about this administrative fine here. We live in a coastal town, and a lot of tourists come in. And of course, on the beach, there's no shirt, right? But then we had people, just the city center is like 5 minutes from the beach, or even 2 minutes. And then people would walk there in bikini, or in their swimming trunks in the shopping streets. And now they kind of banned that as well. You get a fine for that too. So no more bare-chested people in the shopping streets and stuff. So yeah, barefoot. I guess it's similar.
It is illegal to walk barefoot in public. Don't ask me why. In United Arab Emirates,
I agree with that. I don't need to see your feet.
That's right. Someone last year was actually arrested and was put in jail for 3 weeks for simply swearing at someone. It is illegal to wear a mask in public.
Hey, you ever seen that movie Demolition Man? They were way ahead of their time. This is one of my favorite movies from the 90s. Just favorite movie, period. Swearing, you got to find directly, right, from the machine in the wall. They couldn't have salt. There was no meat. Everybody, they couldn't touch each other, like the high five. The pandemic really opened up that, brought back that movie. They had no toilet paper anymore. What a cool movie. Sly Stallone and Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock. Good stuff.
In Denmark. And no, I don't mean this mask. I mean this mask. The reason is because people want to see themselves at public places. So they just introduced this law, I guess. You cannot.
Right. So, you have to be recognizable, which I understand, of course, if you don't want any criminals walking around with their, how do you call it, a ski mask or whatever. But I think for some countries, they kind of slipped that in there so they could kind of, ban, burqas and hijabs and stuff, because, there's we can kind of connect that with that. And there's always something there, Come on. Hey.
Themselves at public places. So they just introduced this law, I guess. You cannot turn off your phone's camera sound in South Korea and Japan. So if you buy a phone in the country, you will be unable to turn off the shutter sound. This is the shutter sound.
Oh, okay, and for privacy, so
the hidden camera crisis which hit South Korea. In Argentina, it is illegal to name a child after a fictional or notable character.
Oh, really? A lot of people do that, right? Lord of the Rings characters, Game of Thrones characters, Star Wars characters. Why? There's a lot of people in fiction that just have real, regular names. We can't use those either. I read about Phil the other day. Now I can't name my kid. What?
Includes Messi, of course. In India, it is illegal to take Indian currency out of the country. There is a limit of 25,000 Indian rupees you can take while traveling. And if you're caught taking more than that, you're gonna spend time in jail. You are not allowed to take a selfie with Buddha in Sri Lanka. The reason is because you turn your back to him. And actually, in 2014, a British woman was jailed for 3 days for taking a selfie. So be careful.
You have to get, if that's that's more like a cultural, respectful thing to do. And if you don't know, you don't know, of course. But if you know that and you still do it, I mean, yeah, respect is a big thing, of course.
In Germany, it is basically legal to break out of jail. Yeah, that is true. So escaping from prison is not considered a crime. It is considered as a basic human instinct to be free. So attempting to escape is not punishable by law.
I'm wondering if that is the case in Belgium too. I have always thought that, but I could be wrong. Like if you break out, I don't think like years or will be added to your sentence because of that. It's like, oh, yeah, you tried, now you get back and you will serve the rest of your sentence. I could be way off on that. I may have made that up, but apparently in Germany it is the case, unless you tell me otherwise. But yeah, it's the cat and mouse game. Who wouldn't want to escape, right? Like,
unless if you commit other offenses, such as damage to a property or harming someone during the escape, then obviously, you're gonna have more.
That's a challenge. You're like Barney Stinson would say, challenge accepted. Now I got to get out this prison without hurting anybody, without breaking any other laws. That gets interesting. I need to write a book about that.
Security measures. And if you run out of fuel on an autobahn or highway, you can get a fine up to $70 in Germany. So fill your gases before you go to Germany. USA.
Another one in Belgium that I just thought about. I don't know if you can get fined for it, but I think you always have to have like at least enough money to buy a loaf of bread, or else you're considered like a vagabond or something. They could take you off the street, or I don't know. Maybe it was an urban myth that was told when I was younger. That could be the case. But you have to now the price of bread has gone up since then. Of course, you have to have like at least money enough to like get a loaf of bread. Maybe it was an urban myth. I don't know.
Has a lot of weird laws. In Alabama, it is illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. So, what is the reason of this law? In Iowa, it's against the law to kiss for more than 5 minutes. And it is not allowed for a mustache man to kiss a woman at all. Okay.
I can't believe this.
It's illegal for a man to make love to his wife if his breath smells like garlic, onions, or sardines. And I wonder, how will police know that? In Missouri, single men between the ages of 21 and 50 must pay an annual tax of $1. What?
Why?
If you honk your car excessively in New York City, you're gonna have to pay a fine of $350.
What is excessively, of course, it gets subjective, but I get it, it's too much. But New York, that's all you hear. Like here in Belgium, at least in where I live, maybe in Brussels, the big city, you have a little less. People jump 2 meters up in the air if somebody honks their horn. It's that uncommon, right? People look at what's happening. People honk their horns. You would almost think that we don't need a horn in the car. It's really that uncommon. Maybe in the recent years, people gotten more upset. Maybe the internet and social media has something to do with that. Pandemic maybe too. But honking a horn, we don't do it. We're too polite.
A woman in Virginia and in Massachusetts, a person is not allowed to go to bed without a shower. Again, how will the judge
I don't believe this.
I guess they will.
No
okay,
way.
I'm not. What the hell? If a Finnish taxi driver plays any music in their car for a paying customer, then they must pay royalties for the musician.
Right.
Finland.
Yeah. But that is, here we call it sabam, which is also for collecting royalties, an organization. If you have like a store or, where you sell food or something and you play music, copyrighted music, there's a yearly tax you have to pay to be able to play them. If other people can hear it, if it's in the back, you're fine. But if it's in the public space, you have to pay these royalties, this tax. That's why a lot of people get these copyright-free music, usually covers of very famous songs.
For the musician. Why is Finland full of taxes? In Germany, if you drink and then bike, you can lose your driving license. Now let's see what India has.
I think that's fair.
You need a license for flying kites in India, and if you're caught, you risk a fine up to 500 Indian rupees.
You can do dangerous things
but
with kites.
As you guys said, most of the people ignored this law, but guys, be careful either way. In the state of Maharashtra, particularly in Mumbai, you are not allowed to dance at all in bars. So what's the purpose of the bar then? You guys probably know that the national symbol of Georgia is a chicken. And well, if you steal a chicken in Georgia, you might as well just stay at jail for 10 years. That is excessive, but okay. And in fact, there are so many chickens in Georgia, it is illegal for your chicken to cross the road in Georgia. What will happen to the chickens then? Will they
I
get
don't know
arrested?
about some of these laws,
Probably.
man.
Winnie the Pooh
Are
is
they real?
completely illegal in Poland. In fact, if you wear a Winnie Pooh t-shirt, you can get arrested, as Poland issued a ban on Winnie Pooh.
Get out of here.
Yeah, let's move on. When you get in a village in New Jersey, you must honk when passing a car. So like you pass a car. It is illegal to pee in the ocean in Portugal. But I wonder, how are they gonna check that? It used to be illegal for people in Malawi to fart. Okay. It is illegal to drive a dirty car in Russia. This law has actually been existing for the past 100 years, and if the police catch you, you risk a fine of 30 euros. It is illegal to build a sandcastle in Spain. So if you build a sandcastle in Spain, especially in some regions, you could pay a fine up to 1,500 euros.
Really?
1,500 euros is the average salary in Moldova for 3 months. And
here, we can build sandcastles on the beach, but they kind of made it or prohibited digging like big pits and stuff, right? Because there was once when I was a kid, a child really he disappeared and died because he was digging and digging and digging and digging, and I think it collapsed on him. So since then, since that event, they said no more digging on the beach, and I get that. And now everybody, you know, all the parents here are always scared if their kids are digging ditches and pits on the beach. So they was so horrified in our town, that story, that it kind of left like a permanent memory. Everybody, when somebody sees, you know, a local, when we're locals see tourists do that, we immediately go to them and say, don't do it. That's how big the trauma is, that we go to strangers that are from out of town and say, hey, don't do that. It lives in our memory.
Months. And we're gonna end up with North Korea. Oh god, here we go. All men and women can only have one of the 28 government
I heard about that one. I know about that one.
18 for women and 10 for men. Other hairstyles are completely prohibited. The students must pay for their desks and chairs in the class. And school fees don't even cover this. If you fall asleep during a meeting while Kim Jong-un is speaking, you could go to execution. You cannot watch films or music.
It's scary out there, and there's not too much known either. There's so many things they allow us to see, and there's so many things they don't allow us to see. Even when I first found out, they have their own like operating system for computers, and there's an intranet, right? Like a local area net you can access, or some people can, but you cannot get outside. They're so isolated. And kind of brainwashed, right? It's scary stuff. You know, the haircut thing is just
music that is from another country. So someone was caught in 2022 watching an American movie, and that person was later executed. You are not allowed to leave North Korea. There is no World Wide Web, and you can't even make international calls. They have access to internet, but there are only 28 websites.
That's what I was saying.
All of them are under government.
Yeah, it's all government regulated. I think it's called Red Star OS.
Supervision. You can't wear jeans as they are considered a symbol of capitalism. You can't have.
Can you even find jeans in that country?
In the elections, there's only one candidate. And finally, every household and public building
good elections
must
right there.
display the portraits of the North Korea's boss leaders, which are Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. And if you don't do that,
I've seen documentaries on it.
Big trouble. And yeah, oh my god. Thank you guys for watching this crazy video.
Wow. Some of these laws are weird and bizarre, and I don't know if all of them were actually true. If some of you can speak to some of these, that's outrageous. That's not true. let me know, or if there's any new ones. Are they real or are they fiction, or are all laws fiction? We kind of made them all up, so there's no there's laws of the universe, there's physics, but all the other ones we made up, and we can change them, and we believe in them. So I guess they're real in that sense. But yeah, some we do need, right? We need to be told sometimes how to behave, unfortunately, but that's the case. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you in another one. Goodbye.